Welcome to Pascal Pod, a bi-weekly celebration of the actor Pedro Pascal, where we explore his filmography and how some of his greatest performances came to be. I am one of your hosts, just one, of Catrina.
Your other host,
My
because
host is Catrina.
there are two, named Rachel Leishman.
I am so excited to be back. Hello. Hi, Rachel. How are you?
I'm, going.
We're going.
It's a quarantine miracle that my brain somewhat works.
I know. For our viewers and listeners at home, big admission from me. I delayed this episode for like 2 days because I was feeling like crap. And you know what? When it's quarantine time and you're feeling like crap, you just take it easy on yourself if you can.
You gotta. But now it's a special episode because we're recording this on Katrina's birthday.
Oh my gosh, it's my birthday! Rachel encouraged me to take this off, and I was like, no, let's do it. I want to have a birthday episode. Make it really special. So, yeah, hello. Thank you for celebrating with me. I'm very pleased to be here.
Of course.
Very pleased to be alive. So, very cool. This week, we have actually some really cool news to talk about. I love it when we have like cute, positive things to talk about in the news. So, I don't know. Are you feeling news right now, Rachel?
Yeah, for sure. I can do it because I have, out of the 3 news articles we have, I've written articles on 2 of them.
Well, take it away.
Well, actually, kind of 3, but the third one it wasn't recent. Anyways, that's beside the point. So first we'll talk about Calls. It's a kind of podcast thing, video show.
Mm-hmm.
It's a show that is all auditory with like flashing lights and stuff for Apple TV that Pedro Pascal is going to be in. And if I read the news correctly, he is in his phone calls with Mark Duplass.
Oh, that's awesome! That is so cool. When I worked at Seed and Spark, Mark Duplass is like one of the people who's sponsoring like a lot of these up and coming filmmakers. So like, yeah, very much in my favor as a human.
I like the Duplass bros.
Me too.
Definitely did not realize Mark was the younger Duplass brother though.
Yeah.
Learned that. I think after I watched Prospect, I was like looking up Jay Duplass, and I was like,
actually, surprisingly, I remember now. Okay, sorry, go on. Sorry, I just remembered something.
No, and it was we're now talking about Mark Duplass instead. But I just didn't realize Mark Duplass was the younger Duplass brother. I always thought Jay was younger than him.
Speaking of the Duplass brothers, yeah, like Jay and I actually share a birthday, so I would wish him happy birthday, Jay Duplass, who's not listening to this podcast.
I hope he is, and he's just like, I'm listening to this podcast based on Pedro Pascal's film career. They were talking about We Can Be Heroes on my birthday, and I said,
this is it.
I'm in a movie with the man, but I'm going to listen to the We Can Be Heroes episode instead.
This is where it's at.
Yeah. But Calls, it looks really interesting. I have screeners for it. I have to watch it. But the screen is, I don't know if the actual episodes are this way, but the trailer is like the dialogue and it tells you who is speaking. And then has the like, what are those sound waves? I was like, what are those?
Yeah. Like those little audiogram videos.
The squigglies, yeah. The squiggly lines. So I guess, again, audio waves.
Yeah.
But, and yeah, that's that. And it's all supposed to be all connected. So, like, they're all separate phone calls, but you have to watch them in order because they're connected.
Mm-hmm.
Is what I read. It's very fun and interesting. I'm excited about it. Yeah.
I love it. I'm a very big fan of like the audio drama genre because when I was doing amateur voice acting, that's like most of what we did. So I'm a really big fan of like Welcome to Night Vale and like other series like that are just like it's what we used to do. What our grandparents used to do when they were like listening to the radio, old Dick Tracy serials. So I like doing it because I love listening to stories and like I can get out on like my walk and stuff, and just play an audio drama. And it's a little more lively than an audiobook, but still is good.
Yeah, I'm really excited, and the cast is crazy because it's like Aubrey Plaza, Karen Gillan, because I got excited that they are now in 2 things together.
Yeah.
Because I'm a Doctor Who nerd, and so I love me some Karen Gillan. Who
else? He's like co-starred with a couple people already who are in this. I forgot who though.
Okay, so which that also leads into our second topic, because I think a lot of them are in The Bubble. So The Bubble is the Judd Apatow movie that he's doing, where they're filming it in an actual hotel because they're supposed to be It's very meta. They're supposed to be actors who are filming a movie. Then COVID happened, and now they're all trapped in a hotel together.
Right.
And so a set picture released, which my favorite part of the set picture is Karen Gillan in the very, very far back, just like smirking in the corner. And Pedro Pascal has on a velvet shirt. A favorite thing for me. Put anyone in velvet, and I will try and pet you. I love velvet. That sounded weird. I just like velvet. Just to be clear, I just like velvet as a fabric.
Oh my gracious. Wow, that's good.
But I think is someone else. So the cast of Calls is Rosario Dawson is in Calls, so Mandalorian.
Right. There we go. Yes.
I was there's some I was going through all the big names that they kept putting up.
Yeah.
Because it was so funny when you read the news for Calls, because like every site had a different idea of who the big names were in it. So obviously, like I wrote about it, so my big names were like Pedro Pascal, Aubrey Plaza, Karen, like the people I loved, and then other sites were like Nick Jonas. I'm like, okay, great. So sorry, Nick Jonas. Weird. I'm sure you're fine.
Whenever Nick Jonas appears on something, I always feel like he's somebody's friend that like came along. Like I feel horrible saying this because it just feels removed, because I grew up when the Jonas Brothers were like a band, So to me, he's a musician, like he's a singer, and so my brain doesn't go like, oh, that's Nick Jonas, the singer and actor. Like it's just like, oh, Nick Jonas is here. I wonder who called him.
His Les Mis was the one that we only had, like, it was like you had the 10th anniversary and then it was the 25th, and I remember that was the only Les Mis I had to watch for a really long time before the movie came out, which I still would maybe watch the 25th because Ramin is in it, and I love Ramin Kimmer much better than anyone else. That's a lie. Aaron Tveit's in the movie.
I love him.
I love Aaron Tveit. Oh, I can't wait till we talk about Graceland. Anyways, this is all off topic. But Nick Jonas is also in Calls, and so many other people. It's like Ben Schwartz. That was the other one that was for me.
Yes, that's the one that stood out. I was so excited to see him because he was in what was it, the Flying Squirrel movie that just came out where he was a dad. Yeah.
Flora and Ulysses.
Yes, Flora and Ulysses. And I like watched it and I'm so bad at names. I'll just be like, yeah, he was in that Flying Squirrel movie, and it's like
I loved that little squirrel so much.
It was such a cute movie, and like I'm always happy to see Ben Schwartz. Like I was thrilled to hear that he was one of BB-8's voices in Star Wars. So like I love the guy. I've loved him since Parks and Rec. So
see, that's why I'm so excited, because it's also Aubrey Plaza, and Parks and Rec is my end all be all favorite show ever. And so anytime anyone from that show, with the exception of some people, get all the jobs, I'm very, very happy, because I love Parks so much. My cat is named Benjamin after Ben Wyatt, so I love him. He's Benji. Well, he was Benji, J Shot, Ice Clown. Those are all of his additional names to Benjamin whenever he's in trouble. But yeah. So then there's The Bubble, which I sort of touched on. There was a picture release. I don't know who released it. I don't know if it was supposed to be released, but it was on the internet. Of the cast. It looks like they're at a press conference, which at first I was really confused about because I was like, are they already doing press for this movie? It's not even out yet. And then I realized that the movie is about actors making a movie. So I was like, oh, well, hold. It could just be them filming a press conference.
Right.
Meta movies break my brain. And so
there's a really, I feel like there's a really fine line to walk with movies like these where it's like like there's meta and then there's just like indulgence where like I don't know. So I'm interested to see how this movie pieces out because sometimes it's just like when I watch it it's so obvious that it's what it is in a way, if that makes any sense at all, that like it just takes me out of the movie. It's just like, oh, it's actors making fun of actors, and then like my brain goes like, oh, okay, well, I'm like, I feel like I'm watching my friends put a play on, you know.
Judd Apatow, I think, does a good job of nailing that, like, hey, I recognize that, like, so I liked The King of Staten Island a lot, and I think it's because like I knew Pete Davidson's story. I know that a lot of that is his actual like life and what happened to him with his dad and stuff. And so I think he did, Judd Apatow and Pete Davidson did a really good job of like balancing this is still a movie, even though so many of you know how it connects. Like he does a good job of finding the balance between his stories that I am really excited about it. I also just like Judd Apatow movies. I think they're very fun. Because he just doesn't care. Like, This Is 40, when that little girl is crying about Lost, I was like, yeah, that was me in high school. So, like, I was like, I fully understand her pain when they're like, you have to go. And she's like, no, it's Lost. Like, I was like, yes. I tried to take off school when Lost ended because I was like, I'm very depressed. You can't make me go. Lost ended.
Oh my God. I've only been like pulled out of school on account of like pop culture a few times in my life, but I feel extremely lucky to have been pulled out of school on account of pop culture by my teacher father who taught at the school I was at. So like he like played hooky with me so that we could go to an anime convention once, and I'm thankful for that. But he never let me stay home to like watch something on time. That was the line that was drawn. It was very sad.
Oh, parents.
Regulations.
That's the bubble. I'm excited about it. I'm excited about all these projects because I just want to see what they are. And also, I just like entertainment. I'll watch anything.
I'm excited about all these projects because it gives us like news to talk about every week. Like it feels good to be a Pedro Pascal fan because it just every week we win. You know,
we're like we have news to talk about because something else happened.
Because he gets cast in so many things, perhaps because he is such a delightful and talented human.
Booked and busy. And then finally, a very, very sweet, humble, wholesome event happened this week on the 2nd. I only remember that date because they're doing it again on his birthday, which is April 2nd. But We Love Pedro Pascal was trending on Twitter. And it was started by it was a hashtag. There I go with the old school Italian, see here. But so the hashtag started trending on March 2nd, and it was just all fans talking about his work. I contributed because obviously his work has helped me through quarantine because I started a podcast about it because I have lost my marbles. But
happy to support you.
Happy to enable me. And so it was started by a couple of fans, and they just wanted to show their appreciation for him, and everyone got involved and were sharing like their favorite stories or tweets when he's like yelling at people, which is I love.
I love it. Pascal clap back. It's so good.
He was on Instagram and said, "I don't give a shit."
Yeah,
loved it. And it was just like everyone was just sharing love for him. It was very wholesome, which is really nice of everybody. And that was it. And it was really sweet. And again, the people who were starting it said they're going to do it again on his birthday. So
I'll be ready.
gear up. Listen, I have so many Aries birthdays back to back to back to back. I'm gonna be like, I gotta get all my posts set up.
Oh my gosh, yeah, there are like I know a lot of people who are Aries. That is wild. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't remember if I said on here or where I said it, but apparently I asked because two of my best friends are Aries, and then it goes like out of like actors, I have two that are 2 days apart, and then I have my cat is an Aries. But I asked, and apparently because I'm a Scorpio, we flock to Pisces and Aries because like it's like the opposite of us. So like you guys are all about like beginnings and stuff, and I'm all about death and endings.
I love that because that makes my sun and moon very starkly different because I am a Pisces sun and a Scorpio moon. So it's just like it's like Scorpio? The moon is still of the Pisces sign or something like that or whatever. I don't know, like whatever the YouTubers say. But like I love that about us.
Like, I was like, I kind of understand this stuff, but not really. I just know that like people fear me because they're like, I'm afraid of you.
I respect that Pedro is an Aries because you can see that he's just he doesn't give a crap. Like he'll sit around and people will be like, I'm not your fan anymore, and he'll be like, bye bitch. Like he'll physically say that to them and go like, I don't need you here. Like you're a Nazi sympathizer.
It's very funny. It goes him, RDJ, and Paul Rudd are all like 2 days apart, and I know that the reason I know Paul Rudd is because one of my best friends, Princess. Her birthday is the same day as Paul Rudd's. And so then, of course, I know RDJ's. RDJ is one of the loves of my life. And then Pedro's the second. And I made my cats the 8th because I didn't know. And I said, why not just keep up this trend of every two? Because my best friend, she's the 29th. So if she was the 30th, then I would really be like every fucking so sorry to the internet, but every other like 2 days I've got another birthday. Then I'm like, there's someone I appreciate having a birthday.
Aw, well, I'm glad. That's a good strong wall of people to be around you. Aries and Pisces, very dangerous people. Very dangerous. I think it was I was on the Geeky Waffle like last night, 2 days ago. I can't remember what time it is, and somebody said that like Pisces are like have like the highest chance of being like serial killers, and I was like, oh yeah, that sounds about right.
I said that to my boss. My boss is a Pisces. It became Pisces season. I said, happy serial killer season. And she didn't say a word to me. And then later someone else said, oh, it's Pisces. She goes, oh my God, thank you for reminding me. I was like, oh no, I'm so sorry. Did you miss when I said happy serial killer season? And she goes, I ignored it. Because I was like, where are we? Listen, you know what? Where is it? Because before we even go anywhere, I'm on a tangent because I started talking.
Yes, it's tangents. We are on tangents here.
I'm so sorry. But Scorpios are always called evil, and we're not evil. It's just that we're very loyal, and when you hurt us, and we've like, I have like a 3-strike rule. If I tell you something twice, and you still aren't listening to me, or you do it again, you forget it. You are now always my enemy. Like, I will hate you. It's like the third time you wrong me. My brother is like terrified. He goes, here's the thing. He's like, I feel like Scorpios are evil because you guys can murder, but you also murder with words. You guys say things. I'm like, well, that's fair. But also I could probably get away with murder if I really wanted to. I don't want to. And you're all lucky for that. But all of the signs, like, everyone wants to shit on Scorpios. We're not evil. We are misunderstood. And you know who understands us? Pisces and Aries, because they are also a little bit evil.
Little evil, but extremely misunderstood.
Exactly.
Yes, we're crybabies, but that also means that you can't hurt us when you make us cry.
It's like we cry at it.
We cry at it. Crying is like a natural reaction to me. Like I feel bad when I cry in front of people because like they feel uncomfortable, but for me it's like if I sneezed, you know, like I just keep going. I like keep talking. I'm like, like I'll have full conversations, like tears falling from my eyes. But you know, like if I'm if I'm in the middle of like some kind of Pixar movie or something, you know, like I cry at the drop of a hat. I cry at commercials. I happy cry a lot, thank God. And yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, I angry cry, and so then it makes me mad because then people are like, "Oh, I'm so sorry I made you cry." I'm like, "No, I'm angry. These are my angry tears."
Did you see that artist who like created a crystallized tear gun where you could like it freezes your tears and then shoots them at people?
Right, I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna get that. Like, this is for making me so mad. I cry.
Yeah. And you know what? That is hilarious because it relates directly to a scene in the movie that we're talking about today.
Yes. But yeah, don't forget, on his birthday, use that hashtag because they worked very hard and it was very sweet, and they're all wonderful fans of Pedro Pascal's.
Yes.
But anyway,
positive hashtag.
To the movie we're talking about today that Catrina picked for her birthday.
Woo! We're talking about We Can Be Heroes, which does not necessarily star Pedro Pascal, but it does feature some really good Pedro scenes. So I'm really excited to talk about this movie.
Me too. And I'm going to admit something right at the top.
Mm-hmm.
It took me until the small child was singing We Can Be Heroes to realize that the name of this movie was based on the David Bowie song. Because like the song is called Heroes in my defense. Yeah. It's not called We Can Be Heroes. The lyric is just We Can Be Heroes. Yeah. And that's also like a phrase that people use. So I just and then in this movie a small child is just like, I wish I could, and I'm like, oh, duh. Okay, I got it now.
It's
me, a David Bowie fan, didn't get it.
I don't blame you. I can't judge you. I have not realized so many things for so long in life, just in general, as a general comment. I don't realize a lot of things. So, when you learn stuff, it's nice. And I'm glad it only took you that long. So.
It took me to the child singing the song.
We could have recorded this whole podcast without you knowing. So.
It's just like, it makes me so, it's not like it's just bad because I'm a David Bowie fan. Like, I love him so much. And I was just like, oh, crap. I should have figured that one out.
Oh my gosh. I love that little nod to him too, because so the director and writer of this is Robert Rodriguez, who Pedro has worked with several times. And Robert Rodriguez is like a really big fan of like classic rock and things like that. So it was like, I think that was like an immediate and obvious nod to Bowie. And yeah, I liked it.
I did a good job. So starting off, I wanted to talk about, because I'm a little bit younger than you, but I grew up watching all the Spy Kids movies. I love them. I wanted to be a spy very badly. But when the pictures came out for this movie, because I had no idea what was happening, and then all of a sudden there were pictures of Pedro Pascal looking like a spy, and I was like, hold please, what is this? And all I wanted, and I tweeted this before I saw jack shit about the movie, was I want a Spy Kids reboot with Pedro Pascal as the Antonio Banderas role.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, I will take that to my grave. I hope people print it out and put it on my tombstone if it doesn't happen. But that would mean I would die younger than everyone else. But like, whatever.
No. That is what I want. Please refrain from doing that.
That's what I want. And I stand by it after this movie. But yeah, this movie is wild. Christian Slater's in this movie.
I know. I love movies. Okay, so you are a little younger than me, but I grew up on like the Nickelodeon generation of movies, which are very starkly made for children, very directly like written and made for children, as this movie was. And so like I loved like that little feeling, kind of like coming back, where it's like these jokes are so dumb. Oh my god, but an 8-year-old would love them. And yeah, so I'm like surprised that I loved it so much, but like the cameos and the adult cast of this movie were just like so perfect. Like,
I'm convinced, and I've convinced myself, and I interviewed Robert Rodriguez for this movie, and part of me wishes I had said it. I did bring up the Spy Kids thing, but part of me wishes I had said to him, so is this the sequel to Narcos? Because it is Pedro Pascal and Boyd Holbrook. And the minute I saw those two, I was like, great. This is just the sequel to Narcos. They stopped Escobar and then realized, oh, hey, Steve Murphy has superpowers, and then just started a superhero team. And no one can change my mind.
That's the natural course of it. Well, that leads me to wonder, like, is this part of, like, the Robert Rodriguez, like, Machete verse? Because that means that somewhere out there, I want, like, a crossover comic with, like, the heroics and Machete.
That was, like, my favorite thing was, like, my brother had never seen any of these, and I had to watch this when I was home to do, like, the press circuit for it. Mm-hmm. And I was talking about it to my brother. He goes, wait, so explain me. Because he made Machete. I was like, yeah, Machete is Carmen and Judy's uncle. And he goes, what? I was like, he started in Spy Kids. I'm so excited to talk about the fact that the movie Machete, I'm so sorry. The movie Machete has come from Spy Kids. And my brother's just like, okay, so I'm like, yeah, so there could be like a serious, like, I am a great swordsman action movie with Marcus Moreno, and it would fit in with League of Heroes, and I would watch the shit out of it. You gave me an action movie where, like, Marcus Moreno is just like, woo, 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 with knives. That's my noise, I guess. Yeah. I would watch the shit out of it.
Yeah, and I feel like, not to be like super movie theory about like Robert Rodriguez's kids movies, but I feel like this particular movie was like a really good cross between like the family focus of like Spy Kids and the like, you know, kid adventure focus of like Shark Boy and Lava Girl, because that Shark Boy and Lava Girl was very like over the top, like it, yeah. As you can see, like this movie very starkly reflected that movie where like it wasn't scared to be like completely wacky and stuff because it's for kids. And like I like that little balance where it was like there's such a cute little family story here, but then it's also just like, you know, kids doing their Nickelodeon-esque adventure.
Yeah, it's very much a marriage of the two because like my friend Marika was more of a Shark Boy and Lava Girl fan and I was more of a Spy Kids fan. I like that as children we were like, we have our favorites.
Yeah, you gotta pick your favorite from the RCU, you know?
Yeah, mine was Spy Kids. I said, bring me Danny Trejo. But yeah, it's a fun marriage of the two because the Morenos are definitely more of like the Spy Kids vibe. Yeah. Because like, well, sort of, because like Carmen and Junie don't know that their parents are spies, but Missy does.
Yeah.
But still, she doesn't know like the full extent of like they're training her to be a hero. I love this.
Yeah. It's that little detachment. It's so cute. And you know, going into like Pedro like specifically, like his character, I loved that like there were all these little nods to other like, you know, signature franchises and stuff. Like he had this like perfect Clark Kent look. Like the straight to the slick back hair, the thick rimmed glasses, the everything, like very clean, very like I am a normal guy now. I have, you know, in his respect, like I've given up all of this stuff and I work at the computer now. And I just loved how this look was like a very specific like Clark Kent look.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then also his powers specifically called for a Jedi reach, which I liked a whole lot when he like called for his katanas, his dual sabers, and they came to his hand. So,
I missed that the first time I watched it, so I thought I was like, oh, he's like the Hawkeye or the Nat, where it's like his ability is just I'm really good with.
Yeah, no, his ability is like
he like force pulled them to him, and I was like, oh. Oh, this is an ability. All right. Okay, cool. I like this. I mean, I liked it either way, but like
I mean, how could you go wrong, especially with me and my brain, when you take a superhero, cast Pedro Pascal in this role, and make his superpowers, I have a telekinetic bond with my swords. Like
that's all I want in life is have a telekinetic bond with swords.
I want to tell about it. Yeah, that sounds like a fantastic superpower. Just like, where's my closest sword? Bing bang, it's right here.
So,
like,
do we think it's just the swords, or is it like metal in general? Like, is he like Magneto?
sure. Like that part wasn't like shown because the only weapons he like used were his swords. Like, obviously, because the parents were not the focus of this to the point where Shark Boy had no lines in this movie.
Well, that is because Taylor Lautner said no, and so he said, "Guess what? Shark Boy's just not gonna talk.
He's just not gonna talk." And yeah, and like, but I was reading early interviews, and they were trying to push that excuse where it was like, "Oh, well, this is about the kids, so like that's why the parents don't talk so much." Like, no, Shark Boy, you're trying to be respectful to Taylor Lautner, so, and that's totally fine. I don't even like Shark Boy. So.
I just like, yeah, he straight up looks like Deadpool a lot of the time because it has the X that is like Deadpool.
Oh has. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which I like because I love Wade Wilson. I was like, yeah, he's like nice dad Wade Wilson, great. My favorite look is to set the scene. This movie came out on Christmas Day. I watched it by myself on December 5th. Or December 4th, because December 5th I watched Wonder Woman. This was all one weekend for me, so I was on a journey of single daddom. Yeah, because I went from the episode where Grogu gets taken to to Wonder Woman all in one weekend.
Gosh, yeah. I mean,
I think that's what broke me. Yeah, I think that's what broke me mentally. Was a full weekend of watching Pedro Pascal as a single dad. And then I said, do I want kids now?
He makes
for the listeners.
Oh, it doesn't look so bad. Like, maybe if I like married someone who already had a kid, you know?
For the listeners, I made a face when I said that. That was not a dead serious. Read it. Just setting the scene for you guys. But so I watched this by myself, and then so the first scene he shows up, he is cracking yolks in a sink. And I yelled, and then it just gets worse. And I yelled more. Yeah, he looks like such a good dad. And then he's sitting at a table with his coffee, to which I yelled again. Mm-hmm. And then he's sitting at the table with his wedding ring on, and I have lost my damn mind. Two things about this. So the scene I am showing for our great listeners is when Missy and Marcus are having breakfast, which is the first time you see Pedro Pascal as Marcus Moreno. Mm-hmm. And two things. One, oh my God, his hands part of my brain. Not in a weird way. In a like, when you watch that scene, his hands change. So like it'll cut to, and he has his hands like on top of each other, just like resting, and then it'll cut back and his hands are like, his fingers are laces in his faces, and it was driving me crazy because every time it would switch, and I'm like, my brain is like, your hands are different, his hands are different, did you see his hands are different? And I could not stop.
Let's come on, guys, pay attention. I
was gonna lose my mind.
And I think
I was screen grabbing stuff that I noticed it.
I think, and also, like, you know, by then you were already paying attention to, like, the fact that he was still wearing his wedding ring.
Yeah, so I was just watching his hands. So I lost my mind. But there's also, like, a fun behind-the-scenes video. I forget who posted it. Someone posted a behind-the-scenes video of that scene. And Yaya, who plays Missy. My gosh, my brain is not working. Yaya Gosling. Sorry, I was like, it's not Gosling. My brain was not working. So Yaya Gosling has like the cereal in front of her, and she like put, I'm never allowed to have sugary cereal. So when I was filming this scene, I just kept eating it because I was finally allowed to have sugary cereal. Mm-hmm. And so all of a sudden you see like Pedro Pascal's looking at her and he's saying something to her, but you can't hear it. And you can hear the people behind the camera going, what's he saying to her? And then all of a sudden he reaches over and grabs the bowl and puts it in, like he pours the cereal back into like the the prop box, and the person, you hear the person on the other side of the camera going, he just said, you're gonna have a sugar high, you have to stop eating this. Just like took it from her and like put it back. He was like, this is gonna end badly, and just took it away from her. And I was like, he went full dad in the like behind the scenes and was like, no, give me this, I'm not dealing with this. And I loved it.
I adore that. I feel like this is just his natural, like he's finally found the thing that he's real good at, that he loves to do. And playing single dads. I love that for him. Good for him. Like, okay, so like, speaking of single dads, I want to talk about are you good? Do we cover that subject?
Yes, I'm just laughing at you said, speaking of single dads. I want to talk about
single dads. I all of this is bringing my brain to like the fact that he used the Mando voice in this movie, like very distinctly. He used the Mando voice, and it got me to thinking about how eventually he will be playing Joel in The Last of Us, and how Joel like is known, not a huge spoiler, but he plays guitar and sings in that game more than once.
Listen, I know very little because we have talked, because I have been trying for over a year to get a PlayStation because I've wanted to play Spider-Man.
Yes.
And now I'm like, well, now I got to finally play the last. Like, it's like every game I've wanted to play, I'm like, now I have a reason that like I have to hurry up and play them.
I love it.
All I know about The Last of Us is that I'm going to just say that fucking guitar gif, because I see it on the internet all the time. And then, like, the minute he was cast, everyone started putting the photo shoot where he has a guitar in his lap. And I'm just like, do you need lessons? I can teach you.
Right?
Like, you can go to Oscar Isaac. He's better than I am, but
he has like on-screen guitar playing experience and stuff, so I guess he's a little bit better. But you know, he might not be as cheap, to hire. So
yeah, I'm free. I will just teach you guitar. I'll teach you some stuff. I can teach you Wonderwall right now off the top of my head.
Oh my god, yeah. It was cool. Like, I feel like that might be like, that's his dad voice. Like, I know he addressed it as like the and I'm just like, but that's also the voice you use to play people's dads. So I don't know necessarily like if that, it's the duality of a voice, but like it was very the duality of Pedro Pascal.
Oh, brother.
I was thankful for that. I'm glad he used that voice.
I will say, just to go back to calls real quick, I was trying to figure out where his voice was in that trailer the first time I watched it. First of all, his name is just Pedro. It said Pedro, and I was like, oh, they didn't even change his name? Cool. Because the minute he started talking, I was like, there it is. And then I said, wow, I can recognize his voice from hearing it. And I went, okay, well, in my defense, I watched it.
I love that you like defend yourself to yourself. Like, hold on, well, in my own defense.
Well, because I was like, is this the red flag of like you're in too deep? Like, you can recognize the voice. But I can do the same thing with Chris Pine in those BMW commercials. So like, who knows? Maybe I just am good at it. But when I heard it, I was like, okay. In my defense, I was listening for his specific voice, and also I watched The Mandalorian, so I know what this man sounds like, completely separated from his body. I can recognize his voice not attached to a body, but also I was like listening for it. Anyways, his name is Pedro in it, so hilarious. But yeah, his voice is now something that I think fans are just always going to be like, is this your Mando? What voice are you doing? What is this? What is this voice?
Because it's very different from like his interview voice. You like watch the one with like him and Oscar Isaac. It is not the Mando voice. It's just Pedro. So I'm excited to see like how he continues to use those inflections in movies and like the stylistic choices he makes, because it's like, all right, well, you definitely branded that your bedroom voice, but you can continue using it for your dad voice.
Yeah, it's like you said it. None of us said it. You said it.
He categorized it, not me. So what am I supposed to do? This is how I gotta categorize it.
Live a life, I guess.
Right? I think the caption I use for this in our note is like Pedro using his Manda voice is distracting with like all caps at the beginning of every word.
It is. I mean, listen, my brother and I tried to imitate it. Just look into the Leishman family. We made the space cookies, the blue cookies. Me and my sister-in-law were like, why not? I dressed myself up like Baby Yoda. We made these cookies. And then this is what happens in quarantine. I made these cookies. And so then my brother came like into the living room and we were eating them and we were going, hey kid, yeah kid. And like we were trying to imitate it. And my sister-in-law is like, the fuck is this family? Like, a 40-year-old and a 30-year-old were like, hey kid, you want some cookies? I'm like, what's sad is if my 50-year-old brother was there, he would have joined in. Like, all three of us trying to do it. And my mom's like, I give up.
To be a mother and watch all of your children like devolve into just like doing weird voices in your living room.
Yeah, she hates it.
Ban to the garage. Get out. Go away.
No more Mandalorian. But yeah, yes, he uses it. Listen, he's the one that labeled it that way. But
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
distracting.
I do want to like highlight like what. Okay, so yes, he's been Maxwell Lord. Yes, we're going to talk about that one day. But
Maxwell Lord handcuffed. Sorry, I had to say it. Handcuffed to Chris Pine. It's the greatest thing that's ever happened to me personally.
I find that character so interesting, especially as like the child of an immigrant. And there's like definitely a conversation I want to have there that I'm trying not to run into during our Week in the Heroes episode. But I'm like, I'm waiting for the day he gets like his superhero casting, because I feel like it'll happen. And a lot of people are talking about wanting him as Kraven the Hunter. But
I was just going to say, I'm about to.
Yeah.
That's all I want.
I think it would be so good, and he'd be like, it's a character that like you can pull back when you need, kind of like, you know, like Agatha from WandaVision. Like you can reach into your bucket and like find Kraven later, because he's such a useful character. So
he's the most dangerous game as a villain, and I love him so much. And all I want in this world is, and listen, I convinced myself before I realized that the bubble was filming in London, that he was in London for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and Kraven was there. And I like had this whole theory in my brain that I was right, that he was Kraven the Hunter. And and I think we either mentioned it or like it was a mistake. We didn't, but the guy who directed Triple Frontier is directing Kraven the Hunter. You know him. Call him. Make him Kraven the Hunter.
Honestly, like that, man. Fingers crossed, like, because this movie was like a really, like, you know, he was a side character, he was a supporting character, but like he did demonstrate his skills, I think, when it came to like, you know, action and being able to like handle a superhero-esque role, even though it's kind of like he's a parody of a superhero in a way. So I liked him, and I would love to see him like be in more like lead features like this. Not, well, he wasn't leading, but like in the concept of a lead feature. I was very pleased. He's a good hero.
He's a good hero. And even though Kraven is not a hero, the way that they're doing those Sony movies, he would be the star of the Kraven the movie, and just there's nothing I want more in this world. I will give you my firstborn. I don't care. Take my children. I want this. It's so good. And it all started because somebody said like he should be in a Spider-Man movie, and I was like, you guys want me dead. That's what this is people want me dead. And then
Ryan numbers up to kill you.
Yeah, and then our friend Kate was like, yeah, but Kraven. And I was like, great, now I'm super dead because I love Kraven.
Mm-hmm.
He's fun. He's like, I'm just gonna hunt things. And Pedro Pascal's Oberon Martell straight up looks like Kraven the Hunter anyway. And so just put some tiger on him, and then, or a lion. That's a lion, not a tiger. And then,
oh my,
it would be so good. Listen, I'm gonna cut this and put this on my pinned tweet so everyone knows that all I want is Pedro Pascal as Kraven the Hunter. And if not, Pedro, when you listen to these, I'm so sorry. When you listen to these, if you're not Kraven the Hunter, just dress up like him for Halloween one time for me so I can die.
We deserve it.
I'm sorry. I will always scream about Kraven the Hunter. I have a Spider-Man tattoo. Everyone should know. It's on this. Look, there it is. There's the Spider-Man tattoo. I will always scream about anything to do with the webbed hero.
The thing I love about this podcast is that, like, I slowly learn what, like, your expense, but like what your big buttons are, and I'm like, if I ever feel like it's really good because sometimes like my ability to be verbal just like turns off, and if I'm ever like, oh, I need like 5 minutes to just chill and smile.
Just
it's like, what do Spider-Man, boom! What do I need? Like, let me just like hit one of Rachel's buttons and put her on a tangent.
Like, Spider-Man, I want to play Jessica Drew.
I love it. It's my favorite thing in the world. But yes, okay, so wrapping up.
A button.
Yes, it's one of the buttons. It was good. It's like I can just chill. I can just like I'm glad I can go get a drink or something, and you'll be here. Just keep.
One time I will yell about Spider-Man Into the Dark. So like.
Oh, we do need to have. We'll have a special episode where it's like the non-Pedro pod. So
it's just us talking about this weird ass musical that existed. We're
I need to see recording. Like that's what I need to do because I've seen like bits and pieces of it, but I haven't like watched it in its entirety.
I saw it on Broadway.
Wow!
Anyway, we can be heroes.
It was a fun kids movie. I liked it a lot. There are like a couple scenes where I'm like, oh, this is definitely filmed like right up the street in the Hollywood Hills, like the training sequence. I'm like pretty sure I've been to that backyard before. I don't know whose it is, but like I've seen 6 million backyards up there that look exactly like that, and so I'm like, this is probably like Robert Redford's house.
It's very like when I was a teenager. Lived in California, and it's very like, oh yeah, that's hands down like someone's house when they had like a party and they'd like come over, look at my fun backyard. It's like, okay, you have money.
It's built on the side of the mountain. Very rich. Anyway, yeah. So that was probably like somebody's backyard that like he knew or something.
Can I come play on that trampoline? Right. I will say, so one of my favorite looks in this whole movie is just at the end. He just strolls up in his little outfit with his little H belt on, and he's just like, hi, I'm your dad. And then he goes, okay, what I'm about to show, let me look at my face when I say this. The thing I'm about to show can sometimes be the most condescending thing a tall person can do, but it is so sweet in this movie that I love it so much. As a short person, this is coming from a short person's perspective. Mm-hmm. When a tall person bends down to look you in the face, even like, because I'm sure this child is like my height, but like, I'm 5'2", so maybe not. But
oh, you're taller than me.
I just hate when people do like, oh, you're short. But it's so sweet in this movie because it's like a dad being like, I love my kid so much. I want to look her in the eye when I talk and say how proud I am. And I thought it was the cutest thing ever. So he bends down and is like face to face with her when she's saying like, if you ever have another task, I'm going with you. And it's so cute because she's standing with her hands on her hips like, I'm going to yell at you. But, and then I wish I would have gotten the gif of it, but I like where they like shake hands and then he like picks her up and hugs her like a good dad.
So cute.
This is all about how I love good dads.
I liked this. Like this movie was kind of it was fun for me because Missy looks a lot like my little sister looked as a kid, and then her abuelita has like the same hairstyle, wears the same stuff that like mine did. So it's just like, oh, look at this.
You're like, it's like my family. I love it.
I love it. If only they were in Miami, it would be exactly the same. So except abuelita's really rich, so like. My grandparents were okay. Like they did really well themselves. They had a lovely house, but like not like that.
She was living a life. I loved it.
Well, good, because geez, if I had to deal with all those superheroes and be their trainer, I too would want a really nice place far away from them. So,
yeah. For sure. But yeah, I like this movie a lot. These kids are so. The little girl who plays Guppy, like, so when they did the interviews for this movie, it was like Robert Rodriguez, Yaya, and then the little girl who plays Guppy. That little child is the funniest person I have ever spoken to in my life. Because like I like when you're interviewing kids, you do it differently than like I'm not gonna ask a child the same kind of question I'm asking an adult. So I was talking about superheroes a lot, and this little girl, I was like, so like, what do you think so important about like playing these superheroes? And she goes, it's so important to be a role model. And like went on this tangent about female superheroes, and I was like, this is the greatest conversation I've ever had with like a 7-year-old. It's so cute, and I just was like, great, this 7-year-old is talking to me about the importance of female superheroes.
The kids are all right, man. Like as
the movie says, the next generation is always better.
Like relieved. I'm like, oh, thank God.
It's just so cute. But I love this movie a lot. It's fun. It's very much like, for people who have no idea about like Spy Kids or Shark Boy and Lava Girl, it's like a fun introduction into like that style that he uses. But it's just so fun because for people like us, we grew up watching these movies. Like I was, I think, like 9 when Spy Kids came out. Mm-hmm. And I loved it. I wanted to go to that like safe house and like everything about the movie. I was like, yeah, I would love to do that. Let's go.
I remember like there was like, I forgot who did toys for Spy Kids, but there was like one of their fast food restaurants did it. And we like, my parents, when I was young, would go to Pizza Hut, Taco Bell, and and KFC to get me prequel toys. So my sister was of that age when Spy Kids came out. So they would go like every like couple weeks if she did something good to get her like the little toy from the meal, so a meal and a toy. But so we had like a lot of random little tiny Spy Kids merch.
Oh, I love that series, and I love this movie. And he's making a Spy Kids reboot, and I'm like, okay, but what if you just made it the Morenos?
Yeah. I want to learn more about the Moreno. I want to see what happened, what Abuela was like when she was younger. Like,
whole world.
Yeah, there's not much work you have to do to digitally de-age Pedro Pascal. Like, he's looked like this for a really long time. So
he really has. I was thinking, I'm like, he's like, because I'm watching Narcos. I'm going so slowly through Narcos. For myself, I want it to last forever. I love it so much, but. Like, I was thinking about it, and I'm like, Narcos was like almost 7 years ago, and he doesn't look any different. He looks the exact same.
I was looking at that post where it was like goth Pedro versus goth Mads Mikkelsen when they were like young, and I was like, he really like. There's not much different. Like maybe a couple lines, slightly more like edge looking, but like outside of that, same old, same old.
Yeah, he has facial hair.
Him very easily.
And like a little bit of gray. That's the difference. Is like
hair and like airbrush, like then he's younger. So
yeah. Oh, give me that sad love story where then his wife died. There's so much I want.
I want to know so much about that because like by the time, not to get like super deep on this movie, but by the time we get to like Missy and Marcus, like in We Can Be Heroes, they seem like a pretty like healthy family unit. Like
he's still wearing his wedding ring, so it's clearly still with him. I'm like thinking too much on this character.
I'm just like I feel like the darkest part of their grieving period has like ended at that point. Mm-hmm. So like I would love to see like Marcus and like Missy's mom like at some point, then she's like doing her normal person thing and being the better Hawkeye of the group. Very exciting.
But yeah, so let's rank the film. I mean, in my true fashion, I give it all the stars or all the shirts. or katanas, whatever we want to do.
Whatever we've chosen this week. I like katanas. I like double katanas. Can I cue that up? Let's see.
Let's see. But yeah, I would give it all the katanas just because I love this genre. I think it's very fun. Because we don't have many kid-oriented action movies, and if we do, they're normally a Robert Rodriguez movie anyway.
Yeah.
Just because, like, or like the kid action movies always put the action off of the kids, and a lot of times where it's like, oh, the kid's in the middle of this action, but like the adult's gonna take care of it. Where it's like, with Spy Kids and this and Shark Boy and Lava Rose, like it's always on the kids to do it, and that was fun for me as a child. I'm glad they're still happening. I like this genre, and I like the fact that Machete. Ooh,
sorry, there's some. I live right next to a fire station. I was gonna say there's drama in my neighborhood, but no, honestly, I really just live next to a fire station. So,
you know, you love to see it. But yeah, I like that. This produced Machete. Not this movie, sorry, this universe. But yeah, I'm excited and I hope it does continue. And yes, a bunch of katanas.
Just a million katanas.
Yours is a bunch of shirts.
Mine is still the shirts. Hold on, wait. I'll just also.
Yeah, I'm just a bunch of katanas, which is like the story of my life. But give me a bunch of swords all the time.
Yeah.
I used to have Wonder Woman sword somewhere. The God Killer. I don't know what happened to the God Killer. It's gone.
My swords have like a blank space on my wall that I just still have not put them up on because I plan on I want to move at some point this year, and my brain is like, no, don't put anything else up on the wall. But
you're like, I have swords. They can go on the wall.
Up there, kind of hang one right there or something. I don't know. I'll figure it out. But also, I give this as many swords as the character count will allow me to. I don't generally critically rank children's movies because they're just meant to be fun. Like, again, I grew up with Jumanji and Harriet the Spy, and I watched Spy Kids because my kid sister was into it, and so my brain already knows how to take in these movies, and so I loved it, and there was something I pointed out. There were little things that I liked that were just silly about this movie, when the parents were watching the kids do their thing. It was there's actual camera work going on here because there's one moment where they're watching and they do a close-up of Ojo and then they cut it back to the kids and stuff, and I'm like, who is doing this? And then at the end of the movie I was like, oh well, I guess some alien camera operator was doing it because it was all a test.
Well, and I also loved because they're watching it on the thing, and I like that so Christian Slater's a whole thing is he's good at tech, and they're like, can you get us out of this room? And he takes his time instead of trying to get them out to instead set up a stream so they can live stream what's happening. And that was the one thing that I'm I guess critically it doesn't make any sense that these parents are get us out of here or we're gonna fight. But I like the bit. It's just committed to the bit. All of these adults were we have to commit. These kids have a camera in here that we don't know. That this is a test.
I just love it. Well, I don't know that the parents were really in on it until the very, very end because I don't know because the aliens implied that they hadn't done this before. I think
it was a trial run. They were all we're gonna just try it. If it fails, then we'll figure out some other way to trick them. But let's just try this one out.
Fair. Yeah, I just liked it very much. And I feel if anybody was watching this movie critically, they wouldn't like it. But I loved it. I thought it was super fun and it was a fun, silly movie. And I love Guppy. She's so cute and so angry.
Said, I need water, and then she went find a feeding frenzy.
Oh my god! It was perfect. It was a very fun, cute movie, and so yeah. A million swords.
All the swords.
Yes.
I loved it very much. It's so cute.
Yeah, so I'm pleased. All right, I think we have a little time to cover the other important part of our show every 2 weeks, every 2 weeks, and that is stash of the week. Which nope, the thing didn't queue up. Anyway, hold on, wait, I'm getting there. Where is it? Here it is. Stash of the week.
Stash, 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 stash. The stash on everybody's lips is gonna be Pedro's. Someone has to make. I can't do that.
Right? Someone needs to sing it and play it and just like make it for us, because I love our singing, but I feel like if we had some kind of professional overture, it would be like even weirder and funnier, and just out of place. Like, who are these professional people singing for these like randoms? So
I mean, I could do a profesh, but I also like my
we're just gonna show tunes in between like all of our. We need to make like a show tune for Tangent and everything.
Yeah, I'll do show tunes for all of them. This is what my theater degree has led to. But yeah, so my stash this week, we both went memes. Yeah, unintentionally. I keep seeing this same picture of Pedro Pascal on my timeline, and I said, this is going to be my stash of the week. It is a picture of him with a eye mask on his forehead, so his hair looks crazy. And great, it's right in between the two of us. Yeah, this is my stash of the week, because it's a mood. I understand it. I respect it. He said, "Good morning. I'm tired."
Self-care. This is what I look like when I'm like happy but tired. And he looks like he just had a face mask.
Yeah, that's my stash of the week. This picture I've seen like 20 times on my timeline, and I just said, you know what? I'm gonna pick that one.
So my stash of the week actually comes from a few Comic Cons ago. I want to say it was 2016. And it's this adorable one that is paired with a little Sailor Moon wand. I remember like being in line for the Game of Thrones experience when he took this. So he was like in there, and I was like around the building down the block. I was so close. I was half a mile away. I was so close.
I was half a mile away. I was right there.
So, for context, for anyone who doesn't see it, it's a photo for our listeners especially. This is a photo of Pedro Pascal holding one of Sailor Moon's transformation wands from the Sailor Moon anime, and he's like winking and looking at the wand and obviously about to transform. And this one is just like, it's super cute. It was on during the Game of Thrones experience, which was like one of the hottest things at Comic-Con when it was running, because it was like a walkthrough experience of like sets and props and like a billion photo ops and costumes and stuff. And so there was like the Iron Throne, there was those cages that were at the wall that you could come down, and that's what's in the background of this picture, is one of those cages. And like the photo op was that the wall would move and you would be in the cage and stuff. And there was like a shot with the dragons, but like everyone lined up for it every year, not just because it was a cool experience, but because the Iron Throne setup was like so well lit and dramatic. And so, yeah, it was a very hot spot at Comic-Con for like 4 years.
Bum bum ba ba bum bum ba ba bum ba ba bum. Game of Thrones. Anyways, before we leave, an important thing happened today that hit my heart and made me feel so happy and full. Pedro Pascal and Boyd Holbrook hung out and took a picture where they look like the sun. So here's the picture of them looking like the sun, just chilling together. And for those other people who love them, they're Narcos boys, like myself. This week, I legit put my phone in another room, left my laptop in another room, and watched Narcos for 3 hours. So, like, that means
Sometimes you just gotta disconnect from the world and watch Narcos, you know?
I
I'm glad that they're both wearing jackets and they're warm, because like
They're
the
cozy. We can go back to it. They're cozy. It looks like Pedro Pascal has on a denim jacket underneath another jacket.
very Pedro Pascal.
Hair looking windblown, but they look like the sun. And I love it so much. Yeah, I mean, Narcos broke my brain this week. I laughed at Pablo Escobar holding a rabbit for a good 20 minutes. But yeah, it's a very sweet picture. And I said, hold on, I need to save this and put this in here because so happy that they're hanging out. And it works because they're both in We Can Be Heroes.
Yay! Oh, I did love that a lot. It was a good cast of like supporting adults. It was nice to see many familiar faces.
True.
Thank you so much for watching We Can Be Heroes this week, so that you and I could discuss this, because I thought we could use like a little chill movie, you know.
Yeah, you know what? And who doesn't want to talk about We Can Be Heroes?
You know, exactly. And I'm very excited to talk about future Robert Rodriguez projects involving Pedro Pascal, because they're buddies. They've worked together before. They'll hopefully and likely work together again. So, you know.
I would love to see it. Everyone, thank you so much for coming on this journey with us. Thank you for listening and engaging. Yes. If you like hearing us gab, please, I like that phrase, gab. Please like, review, subscribe, tweet, click, I don't know, all the things, you know, what you do. Engage. Like Captain Picard says, engage. Now I'm jumping franchises. But yes.
Yes. Yeah. And if you're looking for us on the internet, Rachel, where can they find you?
On the Twitter with at Rachel Leishman, and then on the Instagram with at Rachel_Leishman. A
little difference. Yes.
What about you, Catrina?
If you look for Catrina, OHCATRINA, anywhere on the internet, you'll find me. And you'll find me here. You'll find me on Ito Banta Pod. And you'll also find me promoting cool games over on MWM Interactive. So yeah. And of course, if you guys are looking for us, we are Pod Pascal, right? On Twitter.
On Twitter, and I think it's Pascal_pod on Instagram.
Yeah. So please do follow us on both of those platforms, as well as wherever you get podcasts. Once again, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we'll see you soon, right?
Yup.
Bye, everyone. We're actually queuing up an outro this time.